Carrie Barr, I have not seen. She's down to do the prayer and pledge. Is that you, Dan? Are you filling in? Oh, Betty, you're raising your hand
Uh,
here.
Betty Bolar is got the month of March.
Oh, I apologize, Betty. Thank you very much for leading us.
Oh, that's all right. So good afternoon, Rotarians. Today is a very special birthday. Not sure if you're aware of it, but today is the birthday of Dr. Seuss. So please bear with me as we pray. Dear Lord, bless my friends in Rotary. Bless them when they plant a tree. Bless them when they clean a park. Bless them when they light a spark to bring clean water everywhere. Bless them here and bless them there. Amen. And now join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. That was a great prayer, and we appreciate your creativity. Thank you so much. That was well said. I'm not aware if we have any guests here today. If you have them, you want to let us know. Otherwise, Jackie, would you introduce some student Rotarians? I think we have some of those on.
We do. I'll go ahead and start with Olivia. I've sent in the chat, Olivia, the things I wanted to remind you to talk about when you introduce yourself to the Rotarians today. If you could take yourself off of mute and show your video.
Hey, I'm Olivia Eaton. I am a junior here at Marshalltown High School. My parents are Monty and Leisha Eaton. At school, I play soccer for our soccer team. That season's starting up here soon.
Mm-hmm.
I am a part of the show choir and national anthem singer ensembles for choir. Community involvement. I volunteer at the Veterans Home. In a normal year, I'd be doing a lot more. Currently, I'm trying to figure out if I how to get in contact with them to the letter writing. I teach swim lessons at the Y and I lifeguard there. Okay. And for post-secondary, I am planning on going to UNI for some form of education. I think I've settled on high school age, but that can always change.
Thank you, Olivia. Uriel Campos Padilla.
Hi, my name is Rick Campos Padilla. I'm a senior at MHS. My parents are Hector and Isabel Campos. I've been involved in the Marshtown area in the Health Careers Club at MHS for 3 years. I've been in soccer all 4 years of high school. I've been in National Honor Society since 10th grade. I've been in the All-State Orchestra for 2 years in my sophomore and junior. I've been involved in the solo and ensemble contest for 4 years. And how I've been involved in the community, I volunteered at the Iowa Veterans Home, and I used to work at Glenwood Place Assisted Living. And my post-secondary plans, I'm planning on attending the University of Iowa, and I'm planning on studying something in either the medical or the business field.
Thank you, Uriel. And then at one point I saw Hypa in here. Are you here? She may have, oh, here she is. Yes, she is.
Yes, I am.
There you go. Hi.
Hi. I'm in a classroom right now, so.
Okay, that's okay. So that Uriel was actually at lunch, and it sounds like Hi is in the classroom.
Introduce myself.
Yes, you can if you can get it to go. I think we have a delay there for Hi. So.
Okay. Also, my name is actually Hazel Pa. You can call me Halo. I'm a senior at MHS this year. I've been involved in MHS What was that?
We're just having trouble hearing you.
Um,
I wonder if she can come next week. Maybe we could get her then.
That would be perfect. Maybe we can have Mrs. Anderson dismiss you to the library. Hi, okay? Next week, and we'll try this again. And I didn't see the last student, Michaela Rosales. But welcome to Rotary students. And again, we want you here every Tuesday at this time during the month of March. And you're welcome to use the library during this time so that you have better internet connection.
Thank you very much. And I second that. It's great to have these students join us. I might remind some of our members that Uriel was the recipient of the Arlene Selby Scholarship to Music Camp a couple of years ago from Rotary. So it's nice to see him as a student Rotarian today. You know that the first meeting of each month, we have a tradition of recognizing people with birthdays that month or Rotary membership anniversaries. So Linda, I'm going to turn it over to you for the birthdays.
Well, thank you, Mary. We have 9 birthdays in March. So happy birthday to Karen Gregory, Todd Steinkamp, Robert Bauer, Loris Neurath, Jackie Wyatt, Carrie Barr, Dan Lamar, and Stephen Valbrock and Rick Anderson. Many of them are on the call today, so happy birthday.
Round of applause. Happy birthday, everybody. It's my privilege to recognize our people that have membership anniversaries in the month of March. And the first one is Nico Aguirre, and I haven't seen Nico get on yet, although he indicated he was planning to be here, but this is Nico's 2nd year anniversary. So wave at us, Nico, if you're on. Okay. Next up is Robert Thomas. Robert is celebrating his 4th year as a member of Rotary. Congratulations, Robert. Miguel Gutierrez, 5 years. We're very glad to have you as a member as well, Miguel. Chris Brodeen is being recognized for 9 years. I didn't see him on. I think he was not able to be here today. This is my 12th anniversary. Time flies. Roger Grodelution, 19 years. I don't know if Roger is on either. Mark Osmondson, 42 years. Congratulations. And Paul Hermanson, 46. So we're so glad you tuned in to celebrate with us, Paul. And we do have one more member who is an honorary member, George Taylor, and this month would mark his 49th year as a member. So let's give all of these members a round of applause. Okay, Rick Anderson will give us the Rotary News and Information segment. You got to unmute yourself, Rick.
Yeah, and I'd already finished. Sorry. Barry asked me to go through the Rotary magazine and just report on what I thought was interesting. And there's several interesting articles in there. One is about what Rotary is doing with water. And our club, I think, has been very involved with that. I think thanks to Dennis. The one I liked, I think, again, I could relate it to our club, was there's an article on there about clubs that are doing satellites and how the satellite clubs are meeting anywhere from after 5 o'clock to try to get young professionals that don't have the opportunity to take off during lunch to attend, in our club's case, to do Rotary. They don't charge a meal fee. And then so they're just paying their Rotary dues. It's whatever you want to eat or drink at the particular place that you're at. And they're using them for makeup sessions for the main Rotary Club, and it remains a satellite. And in the past, they changed that. In the past, they eventually became their own clubs, and now it can stay a satellite club forever as long as you have a minimum of members on it. So again, I just found that interesting, and we talked about it at some time, and I feel maybe we should look into that farther.
Mary, you're on mute.
Oops, thanks. Thanks, Rick. Which magazine were you looking at? The one that we just recently received?
The one that we just received.
Thank you very much. Thanks for doing it. I encourage all the other members to open up that magazine and see what you find. Under announcements, we had 38 people who attended our meeting last week by Zoom. And the board talked about how soon we wanted to try to go back to adding in-person meetings as well as the Zoom meetings. And they decided that we would go for that on March 23rd. So in a few weeks, we're going to add in-person meetings again. You can mark your calendar. I hope if you're comfortable that many of you will choose to come. It'll be good to see people in 3D, as I have a friend who describes that. If you have questions or concerns, feel free to contact any of your officers or Kim. We'll be happy to visit with you about that. Also, Heidi Drager is here to talk with us again about the Josh the Otter program.
Can't see. Sorry about that. Can you hear me? Good. Okay.
can.
So Josh the Otter, hopefully you guys all remember, is a program about water safety. We partner with the local Y and the school system to bring this information. It includes a book and a coloring book that we provide to the kindergarten students. We've kind of determined that was the best point of contact to get everybody. And each kit costs $3.95. And this year, because last year we were not able to do it, we will be doing first graders and kindergarten students. It costs about $1,500 when all is said and done to get all of the supplies for one class. We have last year's. We're in the process of ordering this year's. And we're happy to say that the board has agreed to help supplement the costs, but we need you guys' help to raise some money for it. So we would love to see some donations come in for Josh the Otter. Again, it's a water safety program. And if, I didn't tell Kim this, so hopefully she's okay with this. If you notify Kim that you'll make a donation and we get donations up to $500 today, I'm gonna push Dennis in this pool behind us. And he doesn't know that, so don't tell him.
Well, that's motivating right there, Heidi. For only $500.
We'll get Dennis, and it's not a heated pool.
And will you videotape that so we can show it as a highlight next week?
Absolutely.
Okay, well now Rotarians, this is a great opportunity. So be sure to let Kim know today, either on chat or by email. And if we get the $500, we'll have something to look forward to next week for sure. So thank you very much. And thank you, Heidi. Heidi is one of our newest members and she's already agreed to chair this effort. So we appreciate your commitment to this really worthwhile project, Heidi. And Dennis too.
We've already got $100. So
okay.
Somebody already sent me a message.
Thank you. Keep us updated.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Should be easy to come up with that. Okay, very good. We are ready for happy news. I'm going to start by saying I'm very happy that my husband has received his first vaccination for COVID. So, and there's some light at the end of the tunnel at our house. Other happy news to share. Okay, well, I hope your week is extra happy so you can report on that next week. Todd, I believe we're ready for the news.
All right, thank you, Mary. I'll share some quick happy news. My daughter's 8th birthday is coming up this Sunday, and we survived a house full of 6 little girls for a birthday party this past weekend. So very happy to still be here because of that. And speaking of which, by the way, one more birthday to add too. I know my daughter shares a birthday with Lynn Olberding, who also, her birthday is coming up on Sunday too. And I don't think you had that in your birthday list. So happy birthday to Lynn too.
Lynn, I apologize. We'll get that added for sure.
All right, on to the news. In a letter sent to the Central Iowa Metro League superintendents, Marshalltown Community School District Superintendent Theron Schutte wrote that 6 schools, including Des Moines, Ames, Fort Dodge, Marshalltown, Mason City, and Ottumwa, plan to withdraw from the CIML later this spring for, quote, the purpose of creating a new conference where our students can have more equitable and successful interscholastic experience. Now, the letter detailed the win-loss records of suburban schools versus non-suburban schools over the last 5 years, with non-suburban schools reporting a winning percentage of just 16.5%. Leaders of the departing districts hope to encourage more participation in school activities and say having winning teams helps. Each district school board will need to vote to approve the change. Withdrawal would take place during the 2022-2023 school year. Marshall County's Emergency Management Coordinator, Kim Elder, says Severe Weather Awareness Week is the week of March 22nd. That also means that severe weather training will also be starting up. Those courses will be available through April 6th with an advanced seminar on radar and how to read them on April 19th. They're all online. You can go to the Marshall County Emergency Management page for more information. JBS, along with Tyson Foods, has announced COVID-19 vaccines will be available later this week for all meat processing workers and its plants in Iowa. Tyson was the first company to announce that its 13,000 Iowa employees will have a chance to be vaccinated later this week. JBS will not be far behind regarding its 8,500 employees, including those at the Marshalltown facility. Iowa's gas prices, unfortunately, continue to go up. AAA says Iowa's average price for regular unleaded is $2.71 a gallon. That's a dime more than last week and 38 cents more than a month ago. Iowa's average is just a penny less than the national average of $2.72 a gallon. By the way, the most expensive gas is in Dallas County at $2.81 per gallon. Iowa State University, the University of Iowa, and the University of Northern Iowa are planning modified graduation ceremonies this spring. Iowa State President Wendy Winterstein announced to students that a series of commencement ceremonies will be held May 7th and 8th in both Jack Trice Stadium and Hilton Coliseum. Winterstein says the decision was made after the experience of safely allowing fans into the football stadium for football games. Now, the University of Northern Iowa has also announced a modified graduation ceremony, but also plans to offer virtual opportunity for students. And the University of Iowa plans to release its plans later this month. Finally, a taxi passenger tapped the driver on the shoulder to ask him a question. The driver screamed, lost control of the car, nearly hit a bus, went up on the sidewalk, and then stopped inches from a store window. Now, for a second, everything was quiet in the cab. Then the driver said, "Look, buddy, don't ever do that again. You scared the living daylights out of me." The passenger apologized and said, "I didn't realize a little tap would scare you so much." The driver replied, "Sorry, not really your fault. Today's my first day as a cab driver. I've been driving a funeral hearse for the past 25 years.
Thank you, Todd. And I see we have a message in our chat box from Kim that we're already up to $325 for Josh the Otter. So keep those pledges rolling in. Dan, I believe you're going to introduce our program for today.
Thank you, Mary. Yes, it's my privilege. Fellow Rotarians, we are very, very privileged to have Tess, Cody, and Courtney Palmersheim here with us today, who will be sharing valuable information about an extremely important topic. They represent the Assault Care Center, and I encourage you to look at their website at your leisure, assaultcarecenter.org. It's packed with important information. The purpose of the center is to address sexual abuse, domestic abuse, housing, and violent crime, and they say in their purpose statement to address the roots and impact of domestic and sexual violence through services that enhance safety, empower survivors, and promote understanding and social justice within our community. And I believe this is a really important subject because it's sad even to think about it, but there are people in our community, and probably in any given community, where the least safe place for them in their community is their own home. And that should never be that way. And Tess and Courtney represent an organization that addresses that. And I think they've got a lot to share. Tess is the director of Access, and Courtney is the development coordinator of Access, and they are both involved in their in accessing their History 45th anniversary campaign. So please give a warm welcome and rapt attention to Tess and Courtney. Thank you.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. I'm going to share my screen here because I have some slides to share with you all. Can you guys give me a thumbs up that you see the Accessing Our History? Perfect. So thanks again for having us today. We're super excited to tell you about Access and our Accessing Our History campaign, which is a celebration of our 45th anniversary serving survivors in Central Iowa. Dan, you did an awesome job explaining a little bit about Access. I'll do that a little more just for those of you on the call that aren't aware of what Access does. Access provides free confidential services to victims of domestic and sexual violence, as well as homicide and other violent crimes. Access can provide a wider range of services. Really what Access advocates do is listen to the person, inform them of all of their options, and then support them in the path that they choose to go down. For the sake of just naming a few things, Access has 24/7 support lines, can provide guidance through the court system, as well as other systems like the university and healthcare systems. And Access can help find stable housing, and Access advocates can just simply listen to you and hear your story. Just out of curiosity, I wonder if any of you on the call have collaborated with or heard of or referred someone to Access services. Could you either speak up or type in the chat box if that's something you've done? I don't know if I can see the chat box, so can someone read if there's any messages coming in?
Well, I can jump in, Courtney. I don't see any messages coming in. Oh, there we go. I see one from Julie. I was like, I know I see some familiar faces on this call. And so I was like, oh no, I know we've had some folks make some referrals and some great connections. I think that's one of the great things about just the Marshall Town and Marshall County community is I think there's a great network of folks collaborating and working together. And I know some of the folks on this call are part of that.
Great. Thanks for jumping in and sharing the chat box, Tess. Well, that's awesome. And I'm glad to be able to work with you all some more today and tell you about another opportunity to get you all further involved. Sorry, I'm trying to switch slides and it's, oh, I was at the end. That's why it wouldn't let me. Okay, we're back. So what is Accessing Our History? At its core, Accessing Our History is a storytelling project, but like I said, it's also a celebration of our 45th anniversary, serving survivors in Central Iowa. Our official birthday was February 17th, so a couple weeks ago, and we celebrated that. And so it's awesome to be able to reach such a big milestone. But we're also going to be celebrating our 45th anniversary this whole year in a variety of different ways. In 1976, Access was founded, and in those 45 years, a lot has changed, as I'm sure you can imagine, from expanding our reach to 4 additional counties. In the beginning, we only served Story County, to adding services like 24/7 helplines and a shelter for victims and their families to stay at. Accessing Our History aims to hear and highlight the stories of past staff, volunteers, interns, and board members in hopes of recording and documenting our history to live on forever, but also to celebrate all of those that helped us get to where we are today. Accessing Our History has a goal of raising $25,000 by the end of 2021. The funds raised during this campaign will be used to help Access plan for the future and continue serving survivors as best as we can. So let's talk a little bit about where Access came from. Ursula Rudenberg, who is still local to Ames today, founded Access in 1976 and served as its first paid coordinator. Ursula's reasonings for doing this were based in her own need for rape crisis services in Ames after she herself experienced being raped. After not finding any services in Ames, Ursula set out to establish a service for her own well-being, not knowing that her actions would have ripple effects on survivors for years and years to come. Here's a short excerpt from Ursula herself from a longer interview that we did with her about what it was like to find or to be the founder of Access back in 1976.
So by necessity, I ended up, figuring out how to do it because I just needed to have a rape crisis center in my vicinity and there was none. And so making it was better than not having one at all. I don't think I had any, it wasn't a hugely altruistic thing. My idea wasn't I'm going to go into Ames, Iowa and, establish a service that isn't there for the better public. I don't think that thought crossed my mind. I just needed to have a rape crisis center around. And this was the only way that I could get one. I knew that Iowa City.
So that excerpt does a really great job of summing up how Access frames our agency and our services. We are survivor-centered. Our job as advocates is to lay out all of the options and then to support the survivor in whichever choice they make. Ursula knew what she needed in her life to reach healing. She just needed a little help to get there. And that's what we do now. We support the survivor and the choices that they make to reach their version of safety and healing. So now that you know a little bit about where Access came from, let's talk about where we're going. Harold and Marilyn Anderson are past volunteers of Access. Harold is actually our longest running volunteer. He volunteered for about 20 years. These two talk about what it means to them to work with Access and why they stuck around for so long. And this clip as well is a shorter excerpt from a longer interview that we did with them.
I got involved
I took calls and helped manage the house and that sort of thing. Well, I was a pretty good listener, I think, and because I wanted to hear what they had to say. For one thing, I mean, they needed to tell somebody, and I was there, so
It made a big impression.
it did, yeah, because it was like they didn't count. That was the feeling. They didn't count, and I believe everybody counts the same. People need to count. So
It felt really good to be able to help people in those situations.
I think Access made the community better. Important, even the people that not only the clients, as people that work there, I think are better people for having done it. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Definitely.
But it helps. It helps there, and a lot of volunteers have gone through Access at some time or another. People that are now community leaders, some of them, and I think they're better for it. I was lasted for 20 years without anybody booting me out the door. It's pretty amazing.
So that clip really sums up the future that we envision for Access, one where victim services meet the needs of the most marginalized person and are able to handle the diverse experiences of every single person who walks through our doors needing services. This is the future that Access is constantly working towards. Like Harold said, one where everybody counts. That's really what the Accessing Our History project is about, celebrating our past accomplishments, but also learning where along the way we can do better to make sure that we're always serving survivors as best as we can. Tess, if you're still there, I want to do another chat box exercise, so I'd love for you to monitor that for me. After hearing those two clips, I wonder if anyone would be willing to put in the chat box, what's one word that comes to mind to describe Access? And if no one wants to share, I'll share my word.
All right, we've got one in. It says important, safe. Julie, great. Available. caring, great words.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing those words with us. So now that we've talked a little bit about where Access came from and where we hope to be in the future, I'll take just a minute here to fill you in on all of the in-between. Here's a very condensed 45-year timeline that highlights some of our pivotal moments. In 1977, our relationship with the ISU campus began. Today, we have one full-time staff dedicated to working with the campus population, and we have a very robust intern and volunteer program that consists of a lot of ISU students, and we have a great relationship with the Iowa State University Police Department. When Access first opened, we were just a hotline that people called for support. It wasn't until 1981 that we opened our first shelter. Now Access has emergency housing and can also help survivors find their own safe, permanent housing. Between 1996 and the early 2000s, we started serving Boone and Greene counties. In 2013, a statewide victim service reorganization allowed our domestic abuse and sexual abuse services to really separate and be able to treat each differently, as they are very different experiences. And the reorganization also added Marshall and Tama counties to our service area. In 2016, we transitioned from a single shelter, so one large building that was a communal area for all of our clients needing shelter, to a scattered site model, which is actually a series of apartments scattered across Marshall and Story counties. Now, upon entering shelter, our clients have their own individual space. And that really brings us to today. Today, Access serves 5 counties. In the past year, Access provided 10,747 hours of service to 1,580 clients spanning our entire service area. Amid the pandemic, we've had to adjust how some of those services operate. This looks like a lot of virtual options and phone calls, which I'm sure you all can relate to. And we also recently introduced an online chat service with hopes of reaching more survivors. Navigating the pandemic has definitely been difficult. Survivors are facing a lot of hardships like increased medical bills, unemployment, and being home with their abusers for longer amounts of time with no connection to outside resources. Access has continued to provide service over the past year as the need is high. So that is Accessing Our History. We are so excited to be celebrating 45 years of service and to be highlighting so many amazing stories from over the years. I've listed 2 ways here that I would love for you guys to be involved. The first is you can follow our social media, which is our Facebook is @Assault Care Center. Starting on February 1st and going until March 17th, we started a 45-day campaign, 45 days for 45 years, where we've been sharing snippets of our past, survivor stories, and little clips like I shared here with you today. So if you could like, share, comment on those posts, the more engagement, the better, obviously. Our Facebook again is @Assault Care Center. And then the other way that you could be involved is to donate to the campaign and help us continue growing and serving survivors in Central Iowa. You can visit our website, which is assaultcarecenter.org, and click the donate button in the upper right-hand corner. Or you can send checks to PO Box 1429, Ames, Iowa 50014. And I also just want to mention that however you choose to support us, whether that's liking us on social media or donating, it makes a difference, and we're so thankful for it. Before I end my presentation, I want to make sure I leave some space for questions. Does anybody have any questions for me or for Tess?
Yeah, Tess or Courtney, can you speak what services you're providing to Marshall County? I think this group is really interested in what's happening in the Marshall County area.
I can field that one, Courtney. So all of our services are available to Marshall County. So kind of the robustness of things that Courtney described, all are available locally here. We have an office right across the street from the courthouse. And in that office, we have 2 primary main points of contact for our Marshall County services. Sue Tufty and Lydia Wolkin are those main points of contact. However, we actually have more staff that are there on a, well, are part of the Marshall County team on a rotating basis. So we have a youth advocate, somebody who specializes in serving child survivors. We have some housing team that specializes in housing cases specifically. We have a emergency shelter in Marshalltown. And so it's a two-bit, man, COVID is weird. And so some of our precautions, what I would have normally said what our capacity bed rate in that particular unit is just a little bit of a moving place. We had reduced the bed availability across all of our emergency apartments for a period of time, based on limited it to kind of one household per bathroom. But we'll actually be adjusting that to one household per bedroom. And that term household's a little funky. But really what that amounts to is if somebody comes in with their kiddo and they might be assigned to one bedroom. So lots of stuff. Support people as they make police reports, support people as they go to the hospital for exams, support people in navigating, getting help at their school or navigating DHS. We can kind of walk alongside survivors as they kind of figure out what's the right path for them as they heal or get help. We're there for it. We have a pretty robust housing financial assistance program as well. All of that's available in Marshall County.
Any other questions for us?
Yes, I see there's one in the chat box that asks, can you share some statistics regarding overall numbers served by the agency and how many are in Marshall County?
Yes. So I think Courtney alluded to total like agency wide. Last year it was right around 1,500 folks that we provided services to across all 5 counties. I think Marshall County alone, we typically are right around, and I'll work on pulling it up as I talk. I think we're always kind of right around that 350 to 400 mark of survivors just from Marshall County alone. But I know I have some information at my fingertips in just a second about like nights of emergency shelter and some other information that I would be glad to provide. So just 1 second, and I can put that in the chat in just a moment if you have any other questions. So I'll work on that in 2 seconds. Any other questions while I pull up so I give you accurate info?
Well, there's certainly some testimonies in the chat box of people from our group who are familiar with your services and have referred people and certainly feel that that was a successful referral. So.
Awesome. Well, I'll go ahead. I'll stop sharing now. Tess will work on pulling that data, and I'll leave our contact info in the chat box as well. But otherwise, thanks so much for having us today. We really, really appreciate it.
Well, and thank you very much for being here and for the good work you're doing in our community. It's a sober topic, but we're very glad that you're here.
Thank you.
Okay, I think next week, I'm going to need the agenda because I don't have that written down. Okay, next week, Amber Danielson from the Marshall County Arts and Cultural Alliance will be here to give us an update on many of their projects. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm sure you are too. Before we close with the 4-way test, though, I believe that we have an important event that's about to happen because we have in fact raised $500 for Josh the Otter, and so and maybe more. So we want to see if you want to follow through on this proposal or promise, Heidi and Dennis. We're ready. This is not the time to go dark.
I think they've lost their internet connection.
Oh, bummer. We will have to wait next week. So we will all have to come back to the meeting next week because that will be a highlight. And just to mention that there was a second challenge added to the chat box, which was if we added another $250, maybe we could get Heidi to convince Heidi to jump in as well. So I don't know whether we were successful in that or not. Okay. Well, I see that Tess has put in some of those statistics, so you might want to check your chat box if you're interested in seeing what she said. And I would like to say thanks to everybody for coming today and wish you a really great week. We'll see you next week. We'll close with the four-way test.
No. Wow.
Of the things we think, say, or do, first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? I now declare our meeting closed. Thanks again, everybody.